Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to want to make sure I get this right, the Thursday, March 19th, 2026, 6 p.m. edition of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Robert Tatro. I am the chair, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Please note that the meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Is there anyone here recording the meeting this evening? Hearing none, seeing none? Okay. Again, just for the record, you're allowed to record, but you have to declare. Before we proceed, let me remind everyone to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly, efficiently, and respectfully. Only one person may speak at a time, and each speaker must be recognized by the chair before proceeding. We will also adhere to our established agenda. In the interest of time, we will limit each speaker's comments to 2 minutes. Please be concise and avoid repetition of points already made by others. If a point has been covered, we ask kindly that you refrain from repeating it to ensure that we allow everyone a chance to contribute. Please rise and join us in our salute to the flag.
That doesn't roll. Yeah, that's right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You? Okay. So, do I have a motion to open the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, motion to open the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do I have a motion to open the first hearing? Let me read first. 6 p.m. applicant Mast Futures, LLC, requesting a special permit under section 3.2.5.4, indoor amusement facility, 4.3.5.1, greater than 15% or 2,500 square feet of impervious surface within the Aquifer Protection District Zone 2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a new commercial building at 615 Southbridge Street, map 55, parcel 7. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, seeing none. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Todd Broder from Fletcher Tilton here on behalf of the applicant Mast Futures LLC. You may recall we were actually here a couple months ago, but there was an issue with the posting for the legal notice. We did have a brief discussion as other business. No votes were taken. We said we'd come back, so here we are. So the project, as you indicated, Mr. Chairman, revolves around 615 Southbridge Street. I've got a little slide deck I'll kind of run through for you. It's the parcel contained within the, just making sure it's up there, within the green lines there. You see an existing single-family home, a vast pavement field up towards the frontage, Southbridge Street, and you'll see some colored areas, green and blue. That is a little bit of a wetland pocket that exists, which is primarily, honestly, drainage from the Mass Pike that's kind of historically come down in that area. And then there's a pipe underneath there, which is the purple, which is, again, kind of handling some of that drainage. So the project would be at that location and is proposed to be a demolition of the existing facilities which are on site. There's also a garage there, I believe a 2-car garage there as well. What's proposed is a building here that would contain an indoor golf simulator facility and then a smaller area, which is about 4,000 feet of storage area for the owner's purposes. So what you see up on the plan in front of you is parking out front and storage area off to the right-hand side of the building as you look at it, and the simulator facility kind of straight ahead of you. It's got a total of 33 parking spaces. The building's just under 18,000 square feet. As the chairman indicated, we need 2 special permits for this project. One is special permit for the use of an indoor amusement. It's the most closely aligned use with what's in your zoning bylaw. And then a special permit for rendering more than 15% of the site impervious. And then we will be with Planning Board for site plan approval and Conservation Commission for work within the buffer zone to the wetland. Excuse me. So again, 2 special permits. The use is the golf simulator, which would have, a bar, very light food service. We talked about this a little bit last time, but it's really light service. It's not even burgers and fries and things. It's, we'll warm up a pretzel and that sort of thing, and some beverages. The owner's storage portion is just that. It's not meant to service any particular purpose, but odd pieces of equipment and the like, personal and other personal items. So we'll have the requisite amount of parking spaces, including handicap spaces for the facility. On the impervious cover issue, so currently there's 27.5% impervious on the site. The house, the garage, that pretty big pavement area out in the front area. There's absolutely, no drainage or anything of that nature to be had on the facility right now. What's proposed is 47.6% impervious, which is the building and the parking areas. It'll be fully compliant with, the drainage regulations and stormwater, and we'll have features on the site that don't exist today. It'll be an improvement from that perspective. We will increase the impervious area by about 20%. The indoor amusement use, the facility would feature 10 simulator bays. If you've never been there, it's kind of pretend golf, if you will. There's a screen, and you hit the ball. You actually hit the ball, and it goes off to a screen, and then it projects as to what you might have done with your shot. Some of us aren't very good at it, and that's me. But it's fun, and it's meant to be entertainment. That's, I think, why it's in that indoor amusement use category. Again, there would be a bar. Certainly, folks that are not playing golf could be there at the bar, but it's really more intended to be an ancillary piece to those folks that are there enjoying the facility already. Again, very light food, no grease trap planned. We've had that discussion with Board of Health. The golfers would make appointments for tee times. The facilities function that way. Otherwise, you show up and you may not be able to play, and that wouldn't be useful. So there'll be tee times, and it's generally done through an app or online. There are other facilities like this, and I think there's one already in town. So it'll be similar to that. Hours of operation, we're proposing Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m., 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to midnight, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and they're in line with other facilities. Did a little polling of other facilities in the area. There's more of these popping up. If you've driven around and seen them, they're becoming more frequent. Other items that we'll need to deal with, I mentioned Conservation Commission. We got to go to DOT for curb cut and work through that. Again, the wetland area that we need to deal with. We did meet with DCG in the early stages. There was positive feedback, presented no particular challenges that we feel we need to conquer. And again, we'll need to deal with site plan approval with Planning Board. That will also go to Conservation, deal with stormwater through those processes. So, that's really it in a nutshell. I'll go back to the site plan because it tends to be where more questions come up, but I'm happy to take questions.
Great. Are there any abutters that would want to speak on this before I turn it over to the board? Okay, no abutters. Hearing none, seeing none. Vice Chair Maron, to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Broder.
Good evening.
Thank you for the recap of the brief. So increase of 20.1 on the impervious surface. The only question I had was, I don't have a lot of familiarity with this site, but I hear tell that there may have been a gas station at one time on this lot. And so I'm assuming that there were fuel storage tanks. Do you know?
You and I will both.
And this may be, Mr. Chairman, correct me, this may be out of our purview, but do you know if those storage tanks are there now and if they'll be removed?
I do not. I assume that they were removed at the time, but if they weren't, I'm sure upon excavation that they'll be needed to be removed. And that'll fall in the fire department's jurisdiction.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, being in the zone 2 aquifer, that's why they have the special permit. They're going to have to put recharge equipment underneath the facility
Right,
anyway.
which means they have to open it up.
Eventually, they're going to bump into something that makes noise if they find one and have to go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully. So, but I'm almost positive that they are gone. But anyway, before I begin, again, I just want to make sure. So we do have 2 new additions to our board this evening, and we haven't introduced them yet. They're alternate members. But for the record, it will be Ms. Bush, Mr. Cussy, Mr. Maron, and myself will be voting on this matter this evening. I just want to clear that up ahead of time. I do like to have our new alternates participate and ask questions if they see it, because I believe in on-the-job training. But just for the record, who would be voting this evening? So, okay. Anyway, go ahead, back to you, Mr. Maron.
Mr. Chairman, just in case you were limiting it to the 4 of you, we didn't open the public hearing previously. We just had a discussion as the meeting wasn't appropriately posted. So if you were inclined to include them to vote, I'm not It's up to you.
Yeah, we don't need to, but I think we're in good shape, but I just wanted to, just for the record, clarify, because we've had some unfamiliar faces with us this evening, I'm sure.
Sure.
The town would much prefer that I clarify this sooner rather than later.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was on my mind to bring as an administrative topic whether or not we wanted to bring one of the alternates as a voting member this evening.
We
Because
certainly can,
because
if you
we have
want
the
to.
option.
Gentlemen, do either of you feel as though you're prepared to vote on this matter this evening?
I myself, I have known the applicant for a good number of years,
Okay.
and we have had some positive business dealings over the years.
Okay.
That being said, I feel that I should back out on this so there wouldn't be a conflict of interest between me or the town.
Thank you very much. And that's the perfect answer on your first meeting, so thank you so much. We couldn't have gotten a better answer out
He
of you
did
on the
the,
first
he
meeting.
did the training, Mr. Chairman.
Well, here you are, sir. You're up. You're going to be coming up for the big leagues on your first run, so.
Okay.
You
All
ready
right.
to go?
No, I'm happy to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. All right, so we have a full voting contingent. Is that better for you, sir? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Fine.
if I could just interject, just to remind the board and the public, a special permit does require 4 affirmative votes from the board.
Correct.
So having another member could lend some additional flexibility to a vote.
Thank you so much for that. See, we'll get it sorted out one way or the other. We always work through it. Okay, back
Thank
to
you,
you,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. I'm
To our
always-
regularly scheduled program.
I'm always more comfortable when we don't have to force a supermajority and give the applicant every opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But yeah, no, and so, thank you for that response. I mean, but to your point, it would have to be opened up. You'd find out what's there. It would be remediated. I don't, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further questions. I'll reserve, but I don't have any additional questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cussy?
Yeah, my one question would be storage of hazardous materials, like cleaning materials, gas, just anything in that building, the storage building.
In the storage building?
Yeah, and an aquifer, I wouldn't,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to condition it on that, it's
Yeah,
not
we'd have to
intended to have storage of hazardous materials in there.
yeah, we just can't.
We would have to, if we were proposing that, we would need to have called those out, and those would be particularly vetted. And I think I'm not mistaken, there's CMRs and things that Gary can probably recite to you that don't allow certain items to be stored in these areas. So nothing's intended in that respect.
Ms. Bush?
I think the brief pretty much covered it in the presentation. I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Damiak?
Great presentation. I think it's a great idea. Just have one question with respect to, was any thought given with respect to traffic, potential traffic increase in that area? I just know that sometimes it gets kind of busy there, and
So
particularly people turning left to get out onto that road.
Yep. So it's a good question. Sorry, I just can't. On the screen, it looks like different things are shown. Then, so if you see the on the entrance portion of it, there's a right way in which is kind of bent out a little bit. That takes care of some of the speed of the traffic coming onto the site. So that was part of the consideration and why that's shaped that way. But particularly in this area, I mean, there's a turn only lane which leads to, well, I guess it leads to the vacant site, which we all want to see developed at some point, but it leads there. There's 2 straightaway lanes there. The traffic counts in those areas are, from my understanding, pretty stable. This facility doesn't project to promote that much traffic in this area, which is already a busy road. So I don't think we did a traffic study on this one. When we went through DCG and talked with staff, it didn't seem like it was a concern, so we did not do a traffic study on this.
Anything else? Okay. So I'd just like to add some context if I could. Driving by, again, just recently as 20 minutes before the meeting, most of the parking lots in that area are definitely already beyond 15% impervious. So if you look at where Brooks Motors is located, you look at the Shell station, it's now what was Bentley's. Now, I'll always refer to it as the pick. It's automatic on me. I can't help it. But that was almost well beyond 80% for sure. So that's one of my comments. Most of that area is already beyond that. The other observation, and again, I'm just pointing out, it's completely up to you, but I think for the record, I mean, we had a full kitchen in Bentley's in the Pick for years. If you were inclined to think that way, in order to be able to serve your patrons, I don't think it's out of the possibility. Just to point that out, that's all. And then I just have to ask, this is just out of my curiosity, have we dealt with Mass Futures recently in something else too? In the last year or so? Your name is familiar, and that's only why I'm asking, because I know that we've had this company in front of us before.
I don't recall if the applicant for Vinyl Street project was Mass Futures, but that's Tim Johnson saying yes.
Okay, so you've definitely, but my point is they've invested in Auburn previously as well, right? So,
Correct.
okay, thank you. So those are all, just, I think, important context to have, and that's all when we discuss it. So if we don't have any other concerns or questions, is there a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Motion to close the public portion of the hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, again, we'll go around the board. Mr. Maron, your thoughts?
Before I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, I mean, one of my pet peeves consistently has been any increase in impervious surface. But having said that, for the board's consideration, I mean, this is a remarkable improvement on a lot that has been left alone for a long time.
Very long time.
You've got two structures there in disrepair, I would imagine. It's just an empty lot that we've got an opportunity to add a viable business and someone investing in it. So I have no concerns about it. I think Mr. Cussy raised an excellent question with regard to storage of materials there. But this, this type of business, I think the risk is extremely low.
I agree.
For any concern or contamination for that matter. For what it's worth, would not be a patron, but no one would ask me to go play golf. And these gentlemen, I would prefer that I not go. But I think it's a great project. I do. I think it's a great use of reclaiming a piece of property that has been just kind of left alone for too long.
Mr. Cussy, with your comments, can you talk about how long it's been that way? Because I can remember that at one point, a friend of mine's uncle owned that property, and they used to spend most of their time in Florida. And as long as I can remember, the most activity we've had on that is a part-time, occasional Christmas tree lot
Yeah,
for the longest time.
that's all I remember. I don't remember the gas station.
Do you remember the gas station?
Yeah,
And what was there before?
it was a mobile station.
Okay.
Dave DeChico ran it.
Okay.
He lived in his home. The mobile station was out front. It was more like a one-man type operation, very clean. His wife was Rita DeChico. She was part of the town here, one of the political parties. I know that all that ground in that area is beautiful gravel. I did a lot of the excavation work for the garage at Brook Motors. Across the street, where what you want to call the Pick
Yeah.
was originally a Esso station.
Yes, I heard that before.
And when that was an Esso station, I used to rent the keys to keep my equipment in there, and that's all gravel. Having worked with the contractor that rebuilt all 12, that whole section in there where we put all new water pipe and raised the grades and everything else, all beautiful gravel.
See, that's good to hear. We have some new valuable members to our group here, I think, this evening. So that's good. That's good historic data, in my opinion. Okay, so any more further questions, comments, concerns?
I think they're upgrading the drainage. I mean, I think it's a huge upgrade for the lot.
I do. And I think it
So-
could possibly, that corridor's been kind of blank since the whole Lowe's situation took place way before any of us were involved. But this could be the spark to maybe interest somebody else in that property as well. I feel like this is a good kick, and I could be wrong, but that's my sense on it.
I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman. I didn't ask the applicant, and I'm not suggesting we need to reopen, or I didn't ask the applicant how long it would take to get them up and running, because I know there are a lot of folks that are really enthusiasts for this type of business, and I'm sure that it'll gain a lot of traction. I wish them a lot of success, but
We can have that, they can kick that in closing.
I'm just curious how long it takes them to equip this and open it, because I would imagine there's going to be a great deal of excitement around this business.
All right, so if there's no further discussion, do I have a motion on the 6 o'clock PM applicant Mass Futures LLC requesting a special permit under section 3.2.5.4 indoor amusement facility and 4.3.5.1 greater than 15% or 2,500 square feet of impervious surface within the Aquifer Protection District, Zone 2, boy, that's a lot of words, of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a new commercial building at 615 Southbridge Street, map 55, parcel 7.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion with all of those words, and thank you for letting me not repeat it, but as stated, I'll make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Vice Chair Maron?
Approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I just want to make this right. Mr. Adamiak?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. So again, one last question on the way out. First of all, congratulations. Welcome to town. We're excited to have you. I know you still have to go through the rest of the steps, but it looks pretty promising. So any idea what you might have this online? By fall? Yeah, perfect. I mean, it makes sense. The golf season would be over by then, and the indoor golf season begins. So,
We had a little joke before. It really depends on National Grid, Mr. Chairman.
sure. Understood.
Everything does.
They're causing a lot of issues with a lot of projects, and I know I'm on
Yes, they
TV,
are.
but I don't care. They're really a big problem in this area in terms of getting projects online.
That's unfortunate. I wonder if you could reach out to our local elected constituents and express those concerns even via email. They might like to know that, because I know in this day and age, promoting business in appropriate business-related areas is pretty important to everyone. Money's scarce, taxes are scarce, and opportunities to put jobs and entertainment in towns are challenging. So that might not be a bad idea. Thank you so much,
we both
gentlemen.
got
Good
in there
luck.
what we wanted,
You can
Mr.
be in
Chairman.
contact with DDIS. I'm certain they'll be able to walk you through the rest of the process, and welcome to town again.
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Yep.
Best of luck to you.
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, can I just ask a question procedurally?
Of course you can.
Because generally speaking, when decisions have been issued by the board in the past, I assume staff has prepared that decision for the board's signature. Do you do that at the next meeting, or do you come in before the next meeting? I just want to
Sure.
understand the process.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
So which is it? So.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
okay,
I'm sorry. I thought you were explaining the process.
No, I'm asking you, because I want to make sure I'm adhering to what the board's familiar with. So, I mean.
Usually we sign them at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's generally because, like last month, I know we didn't have one, but yeah, we'll just come in and we sign them all while we're going along. We pass them. It's easier for you to do it. Sometimes if there's a decision that requires us to do that time-wise, we're more than happy to come up, but we just usually do an individual email for that.
Okay.
And notify them.
I'll have a decision prepared for the next meeting, Mr. Chair.
Perfect. Thank you so much. When you finish with are you presenting this evening as well?
It will be appropriate, Mr. Chairman, for the next hearing for me to recuse myself.
Okay.
I am an applicant.
And can you come back up after?
Yes, sir.
Since, because I'd like to be able to wrap up and introduce our new members.
Certainly.
Excellent. Thank
No,
you so
certainly.
much.
I have no intention of leaving.
I thought you were going to sneak out the back door. That's what I was really worried about.
Then with your permission, I will recuse myself.
So let me just make sure before you go.
Sure.
Do I have a motion to close the 6 PM hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close the hearing?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Good. Just wanted to make sure I got that on record. Okay, now you can go ahead. You're excused.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we have the 6:05 PM applicants Michael and Grace Marin requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation at 25 Bancroft Street, map 34, parcel 30. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to bring Mr. Shea forward for this one so we can have a full voting contingent again?
Absolutely.
Perfect way to get him started. So just for the record, I'll be bringing Mr. Shea forward so we have a full voting board for us this evening. Okay, do I have any, before I begin, are there any abutters that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none, seeing none? Go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Before we begin, well, maybe, you know what? I have something to hand out, but I'll let the applicants present, and then I can pass something
Okay.
out to the board.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to yield the floor to the applicant. If you'd like to go ahead and give your presentation, please, and then we'll ask some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael Marin, 25 Bancroft Street. Grace Marin, 25 Bancroft Street. And happy to be before you this evening with a proposal for a home occupation
Okay.
But I'll let Grace introduce herself if I may.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Marin. I'm very good at making Italian cookies with our family recipes. I would like to open a home bakery so others can enjoy my cookies. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. So I'm usually challenging Mr. Maron here to do all the interrogation. I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Cussy. Any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, so your materials, your cooking materials, hi Grace. How are you? Your cooking materials, are you picking them up yourself or are they being delivered?
We are, Mr. Cussy. So it won't be any deliveries other than maybe some packaging materials. But as far as the perishable goods, flour, sugar, those kinds of things, we'll pick them up. Likely BJ's or a wholesaler.
And will you have a dumpster?
No dumpster. No, I don't expect that it's going to be, there's not a considerable amount of waste based on our products. We're going to feature 4 cookies that we're going to start with. So the Italian lemon drop, the Italian anisette, an Italian almond nut cookie, and the pizzette, which is among the most complicated recipe to make. It's a chocolate Italian cookie. A lot of these are specialty Italian cookies around the Christmas time, the holidays, but we won't deprive customers. We'll provide them throughout the year.
Any signage?
Not planning on any signage, but understanding that if this takes on and grows legs, we may want to put something in the front of the house just to give folks a chance to find the house a little easily. When there was a renumbering in Bancroft Street prior to us being there about 20 years ago, the numbers are a little goofy. And so we've got folks that are delivering packages across the street and that sort of thing every now and then. So if we catch a buzz and we start getting a little bit of pickup, then I might consider a sign in the front of the yard. But if we would, I would certainly take a look at the grid and the bylaws and come before the board with any presentation for that.
Very good. Cookies sound delicious.
Should have brought some samples.
I know, right? Any other questions, sir?
I'm all set, thank you.
Ms. Bush?
I think Mr. Cussy covered everything, but Mr. Marin always asks if there's samples available at the meeting.
But, Mr. Chairman, if you would allow us to
So this is,
There are actual samples. Now, this by no means, and I'll say just briefly, Mr. Chairman, this by no means is any attempt at persuading a vote. Okay? Because we fully understand the process. It's been a great education to go through the process. But if this by any way sweetens your mind, it was ill-intended.
What a great first meeting to come to. I'm guessing this doesn't happen often.
definitely my best meeting so far.
Thank you so much.
So what you have in there as a sample is a sample of the anisette and the lemon drop cookie.
I mean, did you watch Shark Tank before you?
This is like,
I think I understand
I
what's
love the
going on here.
presentation, too.
So interestingly enough, Mr. Chairman, we do consider this a potential dry run for a Shark Tank presentation.
I don't see why not.
But let's see where
They
it
look
goes.
beautiful. I am not even gonna, if I open these right now, the issue is I won't be able to speak for the rest of the night. Because I'll have so much of this in my mouth that I won't be able to cover the
enjoy.
conversations we have. It is beautiful, really is.
Yeah.
Carassi Treats, Italian Cookies by Grace. It's beautiful. I really think it's gorgeous.
So we did struggle on the name at times, and we had a couple of lists that were torn up. We went through a lot of different family names and a lot of different play on some family words. Many might know that my wife her maiden name is Tarasi, and she's from town, and I moved into town, and her name has a bit of name recognition in town, where she comes from a long-standing, strong family and of all girls in her family. So we took that name and thought that we would make it sing with Tarasi Treats.
Very nice. I do think, for the record, if you wanted a sign, you're allowed to have up to 4 square feet, though. just for a home occupation, just for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't expect it to be any larger than that. Hasn't been asked, but we don't have any employees. So we have one owner occupied. So Grace is a master baker by title and the president of the company. I will be an operations manager, volunteer, and essentially in charge of supplies. And we did bring in charge of housekeeping and design our assistant. But again, all volunteers other than the primary business owner, Grace.
Okay, so, Mr. Adamiak, do you have any questions of the applicant, sir?
So what's your experience? How long have you been doing this, really?
Great question, sir. So without divulging my age, I would myself, and I taught the recipes to Grace, they've been carried on, but I would say better than 40 years. So this is a tradition in our house in preparation for Easter and for somewhat Thanksgiving, mostly Easter and Christmas, and these particular cookies. And this also comes together for family weddings. So there is a machine that starts up with an Italian wedding where you can have the cake and some store-bought things, but there are all of the older aunts that get together as a machine and make the Italian cookies. And present it as a separate table at a wedding. And so it's a pretty significant family tradition. Not just ours, it's certainly cultural. But some of these recipes have been carried forward and down since relatives came over from Italy.
So I'm guessing you've had great feedback because obviously you wouldn't want to do this, but what made you want to bring it to the masses?
Again, thanks for the question. So Grace and I have been talking about this year over year when we get together and make cookies for Christmas. This particular year, I was kicking the idea around this past Christmas, and my daughter put me on notice and literally said to me, well, are we just going to talk about it? Or are you actually going to do something about it? Because you've been talking about it for years. Cooking and particularly baking has been a passion of hers. She's taken ServSafe. She has gone through a couple of training programs, formal training programs.
Nice.
But she has a strong affinity for baking. These particular recipes are tricky. Two of the recipes she self-invented, modifying some old family recipes herself. So she really has quite a knack for it. And as she said, she wants to share it with others. I'm looking to recover. I was hoping that, very impressive in the process, I was hoping that perhaps some of Butters would show up, all 147 of them, because we are lucky enough to live next to Tuck Farm Road. So the process is quite impressive, but I was happy to go through it. If we are successful and get fully licensed, and I understand the next step, if this is approved, we'll go through the Board of Health process. But if we are successful and awarded a special permit, I expect that all 147 abutters will be among our first customers.
Excellent.
Thank you. I look forward to trying them.
Any other questions on this side? Mr. Shea, sir?
One quick question. It says that there's no walk-up sales, correct?
That is correct.
And customers would schedule a time to come and pick up their orders.
That is our plan.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, how you would set up the schedules?
Sure.
You know?
So we're planning essentially sales by order. And my expectation is that in time, when we learn a little bit more, we're going to set up a website. We do intend to go for the yearly permit to also sell as a vendor at some of the town activities, the sales,
Very good.
the activities and where they have booths, and I'm remiss for the name of them, but there are various. So we'll connect with Kristen Pappas and others and set up that permitting. But as far as private sales, the expectation is that our business will be done by phone order. Until we get up and running with the website. And with those phone orders, likely it'll be on weekend pickups, and we'll schedule them individually. The lot is pretty is pretty large, quite frankly, as far as driveway in our frontage. We have several spaces available, and so one at a time customers wouldn't hinder any traffic issues, in my opinion. Good question. Thank you.
And Mr. Shea actually led into my questions that I had. So primarily what I caught was it would be phone orders and then eventually a website. Do you plan any social media contacts, like a Facebook page? I'm honestly asking because I'd like to just be curious about how someone might be interested in ordering, maybe get some. I'm not specifically speaking for myself, keep in mind, I'm just saying.
No, Mr. Chairman, so I appreciate that. Right. So look, my motto is, every sample could lead to a customer, right?
Correct.
Every contact could lead to a customer. And so that would be the plan. I do have a climb there, to be honest, because I'm not a social media person. But I do tend to get some advice, and I know putting it out there in that fashion so that folks can contact me. There are a lot of other media, obviously, other than just a cell phone.
Oh, of course.
I need to embrace that. So we're going to try to put ourselves out there. I've been old school with pen and paper and don't have a MyFace account, but I do need to embrace some of that outreach to make sure that we can reach a larger audience.
What I would recommend from a creativity standpoint is Instagram seems to be the place where that type of activity lends itself to, more the creative space.
I appreciate the advice, Mr. Chairman. I've heard of Instagram, so I'll.
And I think this
I'll
is
have
the
to
point in
explore.
Shark Tank where we have to start talking about investors. Where we're going. But since we can't do that, do I have any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none, do I have a motion to?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yes,
You
before
had
we
something.
close the hearing. I'm going to pass these to Mr. Shea and have him take one, pass them down.
Sure.
These are an email comment question I'd received from.
Oh, thank you.
From, speaking of abutters, from David Norwood. I don't have the address handy. But he had sent me an email, which you can see the chain. He was asking about traffic at the site. I think that's been addressed. And I explained that the application had stated it would be, as was discussed earlier, it's appointment only, one car only at a time. And he was satisfied with that. And I asked him if he wanted me to share these comments with the board, and he said yes, so I am sharing these with the board.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. So this is received from David Norwood, just for the record. And it was just a simple question of, would there be basically more than one car or two cars in the driveway at a time? So I think that's fair enough. So yeah, that's, as long as it's brought up and dealt with, I don't anticipate that being a problem. So thank you for concern and your input. Okay, so do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Motion to close the public.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, seeing none? Okay, any comments, concerns, questions?
No.
I mean, I think we've covered everything. I'd just like to point out too, if you remember, we had a lady come in here for this very same thing. She ended up moving out of her house into the church. She ended up on the Food Network competing for Halloween cookies. That was Aislin's Cookies in Auburn.
No kidding.
And I'm not sure what her status is now. I know she goes back to her full-time job of her career and then the cookie thing. So I'm not really sure what the status is, but yeah, we gave her the permit right here and she ended up on the Food Network.
Wow.
So it all starts at home and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And once again, I like that you came forward, for a home business.
yep.
Some people want to just start up a business without coming in front of us. I want to thank you for doing the right thing.
Okay. So do I have a motion? Let me get to my paper here. For the 6:05 PM applicant Michael and Grace Marin requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation at 25 Bancroft Street, map 34, parcel 30. Do I have a motion?
I would make a motion to grant.
Okay. Do we have special conditions or just standard conditions?
Standard conditions would be fine.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Roll call vote. Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
I'm going to go back to, make sure I say this correctly. Mr. Adamiak?
Approve.
Mr. Che?
Yes.
And I vote to approve. Congratulations. Good luck. Do I have a motion to close the 6:05 PM hearing?
Motion to close.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay, okay. We're moving along pretty good, and as I said, we're going to be on to, this is really something that we have to go back to the original four here, so to speak, Ms. Bush, Mr. Cussy, Vice Chair Marin, and myself. So a couple of months ago, we had a couple of permits come in, and they were regarding kennels and canine type of activity. There was some discrepancies on the paperwork. Let me put it this way. There was a series of errors that, including myself, that the town felt the best course of action in fairness to the applicants would be to vacate these decisions and allow them, should they choose, to reapply. So let me explain. What happened was there was an issue with a little bit, nothing particularly bad, but with we reissued the hearing notice for the meeting, and there was a couple of typos in the notice. So that was one thing. The applicant came afterwards and said that they felt as though I allowed for a lot of questions without rebuttals. There was some other people that expressed concerns on the town side that when the people that came up to speak, although they did sign in and they were happy with that, is that people came from out of town, they spoke out of order, they felt as though it was a little chaotic. So Ms. Roach, who was not with us this evening, being the smart person that she is, came up with a suggestion that would be, from now on, when we take comments, we're going to sort of categorize them. So immediate abutters will have the opportunity to speak first, concerned town citizens, so to speak, and then work our way out to, if people might be a client of a local business, but they live in another community, we're going to weigh out their concerns, but we're going to make sure we identify who they are, and we're going to do it in order. So I think all things concerned, and again, in fairness to the applicant, I am respectfully requesting to the board that we would be able to vote to rescind these two and let them start from ground zero again. And again, let's discuss it first, so, work through it.
Is there anything, Mr. Chairman, is there anything that we did procedurally that was incorrect that evening?
I'm going to throw that over to the town, because I don't think it's appropriate for me to say if I did anything procedurally incorrect. I'd just be defending myself.
Through the chair, I appreciate your comments before. I don't think there were, there's a few things at play here. You already mentioned that there was perhaps some, it wasn't optimal the way the public comments were handled that night. That wasn't so much any sort of violation, just sort of I'll call it bad form, if you will. The issue more, from my perspective, at least in the case of the Inwood Road application, it was advertised as a special permit. However, kennels aren't allowed in that district. So the correct application would have been for a variance on that matter. And the other matter, it was voted on as a kennel, but the home business was not a kennel. And so there were some shades of gray there that made it a little bit confusing, and the applicants didn't feel like they were maybe fully understood. I feel like, in retrospect, I feel like the board wasn't properly advised of some of the nuances there. And so after discussing this with you, Mr. Chair, and with town council and with staff, we thought the best approach was to let's get it right. Let's do it efficiently, and that was the purpose for this suggestion. The other side to that was I was hopeful that we would be able to have those hearings again tonight. However, we're still awaiting guidance from the Attorney General's office relative to zoning that was passed at last town meeting that might impact the kennel situation. So we're trying to, there's a few moving pieces here, but in fairness to the applicants and in fairness to the residents and in fairness to the board, we just felt like let's do a do-over here. And let's get it right and allow, it may not affect the outcomes, but but it's important to have the discussion around the correct form of relief that's being sought, so that way there can be no questions whether they're pro or con.
Correct. I agree with that.
That was staff's suggestion, Mr. Chair.
And again, I think it's important, he added good context. The one thing I love about the town, and I really do mean this, they'll communicate with me and they'll tell me, can we have a quick meeting, or it might be a couple of emails, and respectfully, they give me the option to make the decision. It was the same thing with the February meeting. I ended up making the final call to cancel the February meeting because it was February vacation. Lots of people were out of town. Many of our board members, the applicants, et cetera. It was and we weren't prepared because of a personnel shift as well. So again, they presented everything to me and they let me make the call. I could have went forward with February. Same thing with these. They presented all this information to me, and you know me, I'm going to generally speak aside for the applicant whenever I can and give them a second shot. I think that's just in fairness. Small home businesses, whether they get approved or not, I think should always be weighed carefully. It's, especially in this economy.
I would be inclined to agree with you, but for these cases.
Okay, I'm open to debate.
If the intent is to let them reapply because we did something wrong, to be blunt, then I would completely agree with that. I would challenge whether or not we gave the abutters an opportunity to speak on comments. I mean, that was fully vetted during those meetings, in my opinion. But procedurally, with what they applied for, kennel versus variance, that's where I fall. I completely agree. Now, I would prefer that if they chose to apply for a home occupation and they chose to apply for a variance, that's a substantive change from their original application.
Correct.
Why wouldn't we just allow them to reapply under the guise of those, because it is substantially different than the kennel applications?
So from what I understand was and again, I'm only speaking as this is what anybody else would consider hearsay, but this is how it was presented to me at one point, is when there was also a question of when the person came up to the window, they said, how do I fill this paperwork out? So if they didn't have the exact information in front of them, I don't know what guidance was given, and I was not there. But the allegation is that they were given some incorrect information at the window. I am never going to stand there and say that happened. I'm not, but again, without actual evidence to back and support it's an accusation they can make.
Abundance of caution.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. I absolutely do.
It also just happens to be that I'm not really sure what they would call it, but it would be like the general animal control bylaw has been updated specifically to address these issues, because the way the different terminology was designed, it was sort of ambiguous and overlapping, and this is where part of that confusion comes through too. So if we sort of eliminate all of these issues, the new bylaw comes in from the Attorney General that has all the language that's clarified, and then they reapply. It's just a do-over for everybody involved. And it really comes down to some, granted, we didn't break the rules, but we probably could have done better with them. And I think the question whether or not the guidance existed or not, but that's the allegation, it can be presented as a problem. So I think these are all a whole little tornado of little things that don't really make a difference, but altogether they add up to something.
Yeah, no, I think you're well intended, Mr. Chairman, and I don't disagree. But for these two applicants, what I'm opposed to is giving them an opportunity to come back and apply for a kennel license. I don't want to vacate that vote.
Understood.
Me personally. That vote should stand on the merits of what we heard that evening, for the kennel license specifically. But if they wanted to present a case that this was now a home occupation, and this was a variance application, which respectfully is a larger climb for a variance,
It is.
to be honest. But irrespective of, I would rather see us take that route than vacate a vote that, in my opinion, should stand because of what they came before us for. They came before us for a kennel license, both instances, if I recall correctly. I think that I would not be in favor of vacating those votes on the kennel licenses.
Okay, understood.
For that purpose.
I
But I
completely
think
appreciate
you're
that.
well intended. I want to be clear, well intended that, for all of the, let's just say the haziness of all the things you've articulated and the assistant town manager has articulated, I don't disagree that we want to, if there's fault in our process, or we could just, if I had a chance to do this morning over,
Right.
if I have a chance to reset and do better, and given that opportunity, and given the applicant, the opportunity to present in that case, I fall in a certain opinion about those applicants, but I love and respect the fact that they can apply for it. I mean, that's the business this is. I mean, you can vehemently be on the other side of the fence on a topic, but I absolutely love the fact that they have the right to come and
Sure.
apply for it. And I think that's right and that's just. But I would not be in favor of vacating those votes on the kennel license for these two applicants.
Okay, understood. Thank you for and again, I think it's healthy debate. I love this. So,
Yeah, we're great.
Mr. Cussy, your thoughts, sir?
So would they be coming back for a variance on Inwood Road?
So they would basically be coming back for a completely new application, and according to our assistant town manager, they would be probably required to request a variance, correct? Which, again, Vice Chair Maron points out, is a very difficult slope to climb.
So I don't really have an issue. If they're going to reapply and come back for a variance, which is correct for the situation, I don't really have a problem with that.
Okay.
And the other one would be just the same. Nothing was wrong with the other, what was it, Rochdale Street? No.
Do we have issue with the other?
Yes, so they're both related but different. The application for Inwood kennels aren't allowed in that district.
Correct.
So it required a variance, not a special permit for a kennel. Home business was a separate matter for that. That's another thing, because the advertised notice we have only says special permit for a kennel. She was applying for a home business to do a dog walking business.
Right.
With the case of Ashworth Street, that a kennel would be allowed there. It's an allowed use, but they were applying for a home business for the dog sitting situation, which did not qualify as a kennel. The notices specifically said they're applying for kennels, which wasn't a complete representation of what they're applying for. Again, I think the substance of the applications won't be radically different. The presentations, I imagine, will be very similar, but we just want to make sure the decisions that are issued reflect what should have been what's in the bylaws, because that way too, if we would issue the decisions as they were, they're wide open to appeal because it was done incorrectly. So that's, again, it's abundance of caution. Again, it's not, the idea isn't to give them special relief, but we just want to make sure they're applying for the right things.
Gotcha.
So they would both come back as variances.
In the case of, through the chair, in the case of Ashworth, again, part of this has to do with, we need to wait for the final say from the AGO's office, what qualifies as a kennel, what doesn't qualify as a kennel, because there's different rules about how many dogs and animals qualify under that. But they were applying for a home business as well.
Which
No, it wasn't
requires
as
a
well.
variance, right?
Well, no variance would, the home business would be needed for Ashworth, they would not need a variance.
Right.
But the other
One
situation,
special permit, one variance.
different zoning districts, so they have different use requirements.
Variance for Inwood,
Correct.
Special permit for the other.
special permit for the other.
And special permits for home business for both.
Right. Ms. Bush, your thoughts?
I mean, like the town said, I think we probably should rescind so we can, reissue. I mean, we can rehear the applications and do it the correct way so we don't open the town up to liability for any kind of an appeal. And I think if we keep the votes to deny the kennels, doesn't that kind of make the rest of their application, especially the dog walker, doggy daycare, I don't know that she could have dogs there without a kennel. So that would kind of pre-deny her application. So I'm not against voting, I'm not against rescinding the votes and having it redone. Yeah.
And can I just ask for the record, since this is a administrative vote, it could technically be the four of us, and it could be a 3-1 if it had to be?
Let me think. It's going to be a majority of the voting members present.
That's what I mean. I just want to make sure I did that right. And again, I just want to make sure that we can procedurally, if we choose to move forward, if we don't, whatever. But also, I think you raised some very valid points. I'm not opposed to bringing this next month. And if Mr. Maron wanted to have some questions clarified through the town, I think that's appropriate. I have no problem. We don't have to make this decision tonight. I think we can easily continue this to the next month if we so choose to. I just wanted to put that out there.
Mr. Chair, actually, we cannot continue it till the next month. So part of the issue of this is, once the board has voted on a decision has to be issued within 100 days.
I didn't realize we were that close.
So 100 days would be, I think it was like the 12th of April, or something like that,
Yeah, so we're about 6 days short.
which is before our next meeting.
I thought we were, so there you go. That's what I get for not double checking. We're about 6 days short, so we can't continue it. We have to really decide one way or the other this evening.
Why not just let them reapply for a variance? Because they
Well,
are,
one can.
One can.
One could say I applied under the incorrect statute, or if you want to say it that way, and I can reapply. The other one can't. So one without the other, I mean, I know we have individual, decisions on each when they're presenting their evidence. But in terms of if we made the same mistakes with the same hearings, we should probably proceed in the same way with both of them, in fairness. That's all I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that's consistent. That makes sense.
And one of the other issues was we were allowing people from out of town to speak before the people from town to speak.
Well, what happened was it got a little back and forthy, if you remember.
Yep.
And I think one of the chief complaints, again, from the applicant was there was a lot of questions and concerns presented, and I, as the chair, did not afford her the opportunity to respond to them, she felt as though. And I do know there was 3 or 4 people that spoke, and then she didn't come back up. And again, there's no procedure, there's no particular rule that we have to do all that. But as a courtesy, we pretty much do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I can see where there's a lot of what ifs in this particular
Yep.
area, I think.
It's unfortunate because the Inwood and what's the other street name?
Ashwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ashwood is less, from a butter perspective, is less painful than Inwood. Inwood is a painful hearing for butters.
Correct.
It's unfortunate that we're going to put them through that again. Very unfortunate. I mean, one of the topics we didn't weigh into during the last hearing, because I didn't feel we needed to, was the issue with the young girl that got hurt. I mean, to put them through that again
Yeah,
is a challenge for me.
that's a good point.
It's a very good point, to be honest with you. I think but that again opens up a whole different, it's beyond the realm of whether we did right or wrong. And I agree with you. Morally and ethically, that is definitely a challenging position. The other thing is I don't have I have not researched this yet, but I also heard that may have been another unrelated incident that was not reported as well. That's all I'm going to say to that. And I will inquire to our, the dog, what I don't want to say, the animal control department, and find out if there was any other complaints that may not have been reported to us. And that's all I'm going to say on that right now.
But I think I think both you and the assistant town manager, I mean, I think it's an appropriate position to take. We won't, if we have an opportunity to do better, we want to do better. And we don't need a supermajority on this one, so I can vote my conscience and we can still move forward.
Okay.
But, which is fine, because I think both things can be right at the same time. I don't want to vote, I don't want to vacate that vote, because I think it was taken in good faith. But I do think that there's a risk to the town in the way this was navigated. And I thank you for bringing it forward, because we are not in the business of trying to, not worry about that level of risk from a town's perspective. What we do has implications. So I think your approach in trying to be consistent, Mr. Chairman, is spot on.
I really love the fact that we can work through all these things, disagree, but we get to the root of the problem, I think is what I see. I really do enjoy that type of ethical banter, so to speak. Okay, I don't think, if there's no further discussion, can I have a motion? I'll read them out. So we have a denial of applicant, Ms. McDonald, requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a kennel at 25 Inwood Road, map 31, parcel 40. Is there a motion to vacate that decision or to rescind that decision? Excuse me.
I'll make a motion to vacate that decision or rescind that decision.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Vice Chair Maron?
Deny.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. Okay, so the first one for Inwood is rescinded. So the second one is denial of applicant Jared Webb requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a kennel at 3 Ashwood Road, map 52, parcel 15. Is there a motion to rescind?
I'll make a motion to rescind.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Vice Chair Maron?
Deny.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. So those two decisions have been rescinded. I believe that's pretty all, we don't really have to go further with that one. I just want to make sure.
That's
Are there any
correct, Mr.
procedural errors that I have made yet?
Nothing new tonight, Mr. Chair, that I can see. But again, just to be clear, these theoretical reapplications may or may not happen at the next meeting. They may be at the May meeting. That's TBD.
Okay.
But we're not under a time restriction for that piece of it, right? We can.
As of this point, we have a settled matter, so there's no, technically at the moment, there's no pending application.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, as always, for the opportunity to be heard, and I do relish in the fact that I can, stand my position, but we still have the best outcome.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of
And I
this.
really mean that. I really mean that. Never have my votes ever been taken personally or selfishly from a win-lose perspective. I really do appreciate the idea of being able to vote my conscience, but at the same time, I think the right thing was done.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for those kind words. I love that. Okay, so old business is done. Now we're on to discussion, and I know that our frequent flyer over here in the audience, Mr. Largess, has been patiently waiting for his moment again this evening. So I just wanted to bring this up for discussion. We received a settlement agreement between the Zoning Board of Appeals and 16 Perry Place LLC regarding the proposed 40B development at Perry Place. So I requested that we have this on the agenda. So we received an appeal from the abutters of Perry Place, and that is regarding to our arbitration and subsequent agreement with the applicant for Perry Place. What I really wanted to just come up and talk about this before I allow Mr. Largess to comment is I really wanted this on the agenda because I wanted our two pending projects. I promised those people that I would keep them abreast of 40B activity. And because this is a new activity, I really just wanted this on the agenda to make sure that the Wallace Ave and the Athens Street folks knows that we're still paying attention and we haven't forgotten them. That's first and foremost. We can't comment because this is an ongoing appeal. Just want to make that open. It's been filed, it's ongoing. And also the one thing I'll add before I turn it over to Mr. Largess is we had mentioned that Selectman Carpenter had a subcommittee and we developed this 40B sort of a checklist, right? And we've worked on that diligently. We have 3 or 4 different edits to that document already because of the procedures we're learning through Perry Place still. After speaking with the town, we're not going to edit and update as everyone comes in. We're going to probably do it annually. So we have a running list of already 3 or 4 things we're going to have to add to that we're learning as we still go, believe it or not, over 40B. So that's where I'm at, and I wanted you to all know that we are still working behind the scenes. We are still in contact with the state legislature. There's been some talk on 40B up at the State House. I don't even know what it is, but I know it's on people's agendas. But again, just because we do have this pending litigation, I want everybody to know what it was. So anyway, Mr. Largess, would you like to comment, sir, while you're here? Are you awake back there? I'm sorry, I promised I kept you early and I lied.
Yeah, I know. Back in January, we asked to be first, but again, we're pushing up the train. Daniel Largess, 39 Perry Place, along with Mr. Dacre and Mr. Down are also here. So appeal, you're saying appeal. If I may ask, Mr. Chair, you're saying appeal.
I could be wrong.
Are you saying lawsuit? Is that what?
No.
Well,
from what I understand is the town, meaning we, got into an agreement with the applicant for Perry Place, and we went to arbitration. Unbeknownst to us that there would be an appeal process to that part of the application. That's what I'm pointing out. We didn't know that your attorney or anybody else for that matter, not particularly your issue, that would have an appeal even at this point of the process. So we're learning as we go, literally. They don't tell us anything. It's very interesting between you being the applicant, us being the board and the town, and then the state. For some reason, they don't like to share a lot of information with us.
You're 100%
okay.
right. They do
So
not
that's
like to
why
share
we're
with
literally
us
learning
either.
these procedures out. They went, oh, by the way, they can do an appeal. We're just learning as you're allowed to file it, to be honest with you, which really is continually frustrating. So that's why I put it on here to let everybody know that as we go, I'm not sure if they're adding steps or if they're just, if they're just not informing us of which potential could come.
So is what they're calling an appeal, our attorney is calling a lawsuit? Is
I think I'm going to switch it over to the town for that part, because that's a little bit beyond my
that's,
purview.
it's confusing to me as well, Mr. Chair.
I'm, just to be clear, Mr. Chair, I am not town council, so I'm not speaking for town council.
Correct.
I'm just looking at the document that you all received. And it does say notice of appeal. Mr. Largess is one of the plaintiffs.
Correct?
The board, the town of, the zoning board members listed individually, not the new members. And it looks like Perry Place LLC are listed as defendants. So this is the same, functionally speaking, my perception of this is if the board had, well, I guess the board did issue a decision originally, but if no other negotiation had happened, it would be the abutters' rights to make an appeal.
Correct.
So this is essentially, they're making their appeal now.
Okay.
After other agreements were worked out between the applicant, or the Perry Place applicant, developer, and the board in relation to that. So, again, I don't know if it's, I don't want to respond directly to Mr. Largess necessarily, but the documents say it says notice of appeal. So they take that as
Correct.
a legal suit, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, okay, so if you want to go ahead and clarify, then I understand now, go ahead. I took it as an appeal to our process. I didn't realize that, again, because of the proximity of the time and what I read. So again, I assume then this is your lawsuit moving forward.
I believe it's a lawsuit with the state.
Correct.
As well as the defendant.
Okay,
So I don't believe it has anything to do with the ZBA or the town. I believe it's just them and
well, but no, but we're named in it.
what we filed was the lawsuit regarding access to the road.
Correct. Oh, okay, good, yeah, okay.
I don't believe there was any other file, and again, I could be wrong.
Sure.
Yes, on the two lots. The first lot was, yes, it has access to the road, but the back lot is deeded Walsh Ave. And you can't just say, okay, I want to change my deed and go from there.
My name is Jim. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
The road was designed for that amount of house. And in looking at the packet, and not to beat a dead horse, but looking at the packet, and I did present to you the affidavit giving me the right to speak for the residents on the street. He wants to take their property now. If you look at your packet, the condominiums are going to lose their 3 parking spots up front and X amount of frontage on the lawn because the builder cannot go to the towers, the high tension towers. And National Grid already said, no, you can't get any closer to them. So now he has to take their property, and that was in the packet. And I'm not sure if the board even seen how he shifted the road all the way over. So again, that's the residents, and we don't even know what he wants to do at Perry Street. This is just Perry Place. Mr. Downer's front lawn is pretty much going to be toast. And if you went down there the other day, after all the rain we had and all the melting, the brook was all backed up and flooded again. So now I don't know why conservation, this did not even go back to conservation for them to speak on it. Those were just some, and when I had talked to a member of the conservation board, and they said, no, he has to go back to conservation.
Again, it's the 40B process, they don't have to, that's the whole point, right? And again, that, you gotta go back to the original 40B. The deliberate intention of the 40B process is to waive all the other boards and bring them in front of the zoning board for approval. But again, I really can't discuss any, this is, we're getting into the
understand,
point
Mr.
where
Chair.
I wanted to give you your time to present.
Yep.
And I appreciate what you're sharing with us, but I gotta be careful because it's an active, ongoing case, and I can't add anything to it that may jeopardize the outcome of anybody's position. So that's why I'm giving the opportunity for you to speak, but none of us can really respond, is what I'm trying to say.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
But that's where, so can I ask one question?
I mean, you
So
can ask it, but I don't know
nothing-
if I can answer it.
Nothing as far as the town's behalf, no permits can be issued, nothing can happen until the appeal is done, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
So until we go to court.
Correct. And if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken, again, this is all secondhand knowledge, but I have been told that this is a very similar case going on with this particular scenario in Millbury as well,
Yes.
with an overburden use on the road.
Correct.
So do you, and I'm just asking for my own knowledge, do you have any idea, like, what does your lawyer say before you would even get in front of a judge? Because what I understand, this is a 2-year process before you even get in front of a judge, right?
Should be talking like
They're,
Chair, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to recommend from the town's perspective, we should probably limit this conversation if we're talking about lawyers and that kind
Okay,
of thing.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yep.
I was just speaking in general because I know that from having people that work in the courthouse, my family members, I know it's a 2-year backlog is all I'm trying to say. So anyway,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to make comment earlier, the initial discussion with regard to what we received was or wasn't. I understood it to be, when we're calling it an appeal. It is in fact a lawsuit. I believe it's the abutters appeal, but it is in fact a lawsuit. It covers two main topics in there. I think access and use on a private road. And we're named with the town as a lawsuit. So that appeal is in fact the lawsuit.
correct.
Right, I mean,
That's what we've surmised this evening, correct?
okay,
Yeah.
that was my own, because it sounded like there was an open question about that, but the appeal is in fact the lawsuit.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'm just thinking in simple terms this
No,
evening.
understood. I know. I mean, we're all getting tired too. It's been a long night already. That's how it works. Okay, so anything else you want to add?
I think we're.
Any of the butters want to speak? Okay, so, I mean, really, we wish you the best of luck. I hope it goes well for you. And, I think we wait the process at this point.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Honestly, and again, I'm going to go on record just to say, I absolutely respect your efforts and your neighbors' efforts to defend your lifestyle and your property there. No hard feelings in front of this board whatsoever. I respect your effort, truly.
Oh, and I believe and I feel, and I'm sure my neighbors feel the same way, that you guys really worked hard.
Try.
I really appreciate the job the board did. But it's the governor's decision up there to change the rules and regulations. All right, thank you.
All right, good luck, seriously, thank you so much. Okay, so we have all that, so I'm going to move on. Can we have a motion for the January 15th, 2025 minutes to accept as submitted?
Mr. Chair, I don't believe we have any minutes submitted. Staff has had a bit of a backlog, so we don't have those ready.
No worries, we'll hold those up. So then I really only have left here is, as you see, we have 2 new members. We have Christian Adamiak and John Shea, our new associate members. I wanted to introduce them and give them the opportunity to say hi. And Mr. Adamiak, if you want to go first, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Christian Adamiak. I grew up in Oxford, although I have some Auburn roots in that I worked at York Steakhouse and John's Steakhouse.
Wow. That goes back a ways.
It
I'm not
does
gonna-
go back away.
I'm not judging
No,
you.
yeah, no, it's okay. And I went to undergrad at Holy Cross, and then I went to law school in Syracuse. Moved to Auburn. Subsequently, I have 2 kids that went through the Auburn school system. They're both in college now, and happily divorced and happy to be here.
I feel like we're starting to turn into a Supreme Court here. We're going with lawyers. My goodness. Thank you very much, and I really do appreciate your willingness to volunteer.
No,
because
it's an
it's
honor and
taken a
privilege
long
to be
time
here,
get
and I'm
those
happy to
positions
be
filled.
here with you guys and to be able to serve the community.
Awesome, thank you. To you, sir, it's been a long time. How are you? And I just want to add that back in the day, when we had before the charter, the gentleman to my left here actually ran for a highway supervisor's position when it was elected back in the day. So
And you were running for selectman.
at the time I was, correct,
Yes.
and that's how I ended up here.
Yes.
So I want to introduce Mr. Shea, and go ahead, sir. You got a few minutes?
I got all the time in the world. John Shea, I have been a lifelong resident of this town, born and bred here, Auburn schools. Served on the Auburn Fire Department from 1964 1964 until 1992. Mid-60s, I worked for the town highway department. In between time, I have served on several committees under former Administrator Chris Rath, Solid Waste Committee, Equipment Purchasing Committee, and a couple other committees. I'm very interested in what happens to this town. I've always kind of had my fingers in different things here and there. Been in the construction trade for 60 years now. Anything from residential site work to heavy construction, road work, pipe, utilities, you name it, paving. I've been there. So I just feel that I can add a little bit, maybe of my expertise to help you guys out and see where it goes. One of the bigger projects that I worked on was right out here on Route 12. When
Really?
we did all the improvements on Route 12 from Hussey Square all the way out to Pub 99.
And I remember, what was the gentleman's name from town that was the planner there? Bob?
Bob Grossman.
No, he was the he was the guy that was elected at the time, but he worked for the highway department, and he did planning up, and he lived up on Packagug, Bob and his wife. And he was part of the planning of that job that you were on, I can't remember his name right now. Well, we can't do this, because we're gonna be here all night if we start doing this stuff.
We'll do it off camera.
So again, I'm so grateful because look at the breadth of knowledge we have. We have 40-year construction, and we have somebody who has an extensive legal background. I love that we have these two new sources of information we can tap into. So I'm very grateful for that. Okay, last thing I want to add, and I'm going to promise to get you out of here. There was a third applicant that came before the board, and I came up here, I think it was in February, and he spoke. I sat right where Gary is now. And I got to be honest with you, the guy was such an inspiration to me that I have to just comment and tell him thank you. So Mark Bernal came up before the board, and I want to point out that Mark is a champion of the Americans with Disabilities Act. He has spoken numerous times in front of many, many boards about he's been concerned about that since the day it was incepted. And, I think of Gleason's. Gleason's was closed for almost 15 or 12 years because it was not ADA compliant. And I remember Mark speaking at board meetings and bringing those things up and trying to get things like that done. He came prepared. He has to leave his house earlier than everybody else does to get here. He has to arrange transportation. He answered every single question without waiver. And honestly, I was struggling a little bit with myself. I was looking for a little bit of like a large, sort of a big picture event that was really going to make me happy and, change my faith a little bit. And I realized that guy sitting in front of me is what I really needed to see. I was so inspired by him that I just wanted to say thank him for that. So thank you, Mr. Bernal, for volunteering and coming out here. I think we need more of you in the community. So that's all I wanted to say. Before I get verklempt, we're going to call it a night. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.